I just saw a clip on the BBC with Wes Streeting. He's the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, and he seems to think that if the Labour Party screws up, which, let's be honest, it's definitely going to, there's going to be a massive populist surge in the UK.
And I look at the populism that swept Europe, I look at the populism that swept North America, and I look at the state of our own country, where there are millions of people out there who have lost all faith and trust in politics and politicians as a force for good. That is not a good place for a democratic society to be. And unless we deliver, people will lose hope and they will turn to the siren voices of populism. So I feel that heavy weight on our shoulders.
The oddest thing about this is when he states that the Labour Party has to deliver. Deliver on what? What does the Labour Party actually stand for other than a continuation of Blairism? So I guess by delivering, he means a continuation of neoliberal economic policies, enhancing woke culture and enforcing more mass immigration. I'm sure that'll stop those evil populists in their tracks, eh? Yet what's interesting is around the Western world, all of the liberal elite are using the term populist, that we must be frightened of this for some reason. But what do they mean when they say the word populist? Well, I know what it means politically, of course. It means the idea of a people who are oppressed by some sort of elite and fighting back against them. Yet what they really mean, what they're implying when they use the word populism, is they're speaking to an irrational, emotionally based, idealist type politics that will lead to inevitable violence in the streets and economic collapse. And of course, the reason they do this is to tacitly control the narrative the public are given. They want to present themselves as the rational centrists who do things logically and sensibly, and anybody who thinks outside of that paradigm as some sort of nutcase. Yet they're doing this because the powers that be have a very big problem. The liberal consensus is collapsing around the Western world. And a cynic might say, well, yes, but the Labour Party just won a landslide. But remember, that was only because many people didn't even bother voting and the Tory party has completely fallen apart. In essence, the left-right dynamic that the mainstream wants you to believe politics functions under is actually obsolete. The modern political model that we live under is more something like globalism versus traditionalism, or the nation versus the international elite. This is being driven by the huge questions of our time that our political elite has ignored or called you an evil racist if you have any opinion on. I'm talking here, of course, of the major issues of our time: mass immigration, identity, belonging, the future of Europe. Yet for too long now, the peoples of the Western world haven't been allowed an opinion on such matters because the powers that be know that they would go against their economic and ideological imperative. Yet it's my view that the peoples of Europe have just been pushed too far, and now we're on the verge of politics fundamentally changing, of how we think about ourselves and our continent fundamentally changing. And the liberal elite can poo-poo that as simply populism, but they either don't understand it or they don't want you to understand it. Because the reality is, yes, we sit on the cusp of some very chaotic and dangerous times, but also very exciting times, and chaos is massive opportunity. And if we can grasp that with the right philosophical, social and political approach, we can really see things change. These are just some of my views, however. Do let me know what you think down below, and do consider subscribing to the channel.